Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna. बोलिए, गाइए गाइए. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalaya Taksham Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vigamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Asyan Dipan Dikayanti
बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय प्रभुपद 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 श्रील प्रभुपद प्रभु श्रील प्रभुपद 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 जय प्रभुपद प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्री गुरु चरण पद्म केवल कटी सद्म श्री गुरु चरण पद्म केवल कटी सद्म श्री गुरु बंदो मुझे सावधान मते बंदो मुई सावधान मते जहर प्रसाद भाई ए भवतरिया जा जहर प्रसाद भाई भवत रिया जा कृष्ण प्राप्ति है कृष्ण प्राप्ति है गुरु मुख पद्मवाक्य चित्तेक विहायक्य गुरु गुरुमुख पद्मवाक्य चित्तेक विहायक्य हरण करिह मने आशा हरण करिह मने आशा श्री गुरु चरण रति सेवो तम गति श्री गुरु श्री गुरु चरण रति सेवो तम गति जे प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा जे प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिला जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिला जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ है अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ है अविद्या विनाश जाते वेदेगा जहाँ चरित्र वेदेगा जहाँ चरित्र श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना महाप्रभु कर दया दे हमारे पद छाया महाप्रभु कर दया दे हमारे पद छाया गाय घुस त्रिभुवाना गाय घुस त्रिभुवाना श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पवन श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पवन जय प्रभुपद 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 जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद प्रभुपद Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol. Nita Gaura Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol, 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 Haribol. Shri Prabhupada Guru Puja ki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desa Tarine Saraswati Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Ramo Namo Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Girivara Dhari, Jana Vallabha Girivara Gopi Jana Balaba Girivara Dhari Jana Balaba Girivara Dhari Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jana Vallabha Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Acharya Ashtotara Sati Srimad Divine Grace Aboy Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Acharya Ashtotara Sati Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON DBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Namse Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navati Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shama Veda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhayam. We're going to do each word first because that's the way it was done in Prabhupada's time. Bhayam. Yuru Katang Tyajamas Twan Mayang Dushjajam Mohita Sayam Bhayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajachurumanyavaha Katam Tyajamastam Hayam Dushjajam Mohita Sayam Bhayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajachurumanyavaha Katam Tyajamastam Hayam Dushjajam Mohitam Sayam Bhayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajatyurumanyavaha Katam Tyajamastam Hayam Dushjajam Mohitasayam Mohitasayam Vayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajatyurumanyavaha Katam Tyajamastam Dushjajam Mohitasayam. Ladies? Bhayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajat Urumanyava Tatadhyacham Dushjajam Mohitam Sayam Bhayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajatyurumanyavaha Dushjajam Mohitasayam Vayam Cha Tatra Bhagavan Sarpajatyurumanyavaha Tatyajamatammayam Dushjajam Mohitasayam. Word meanings? Bhayam, we, cha, and, tatra, within that material creation. Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarpaha, serpents. Jati, by species. Urumanyabaha. Too much absorbed in anger. Kotam. How? Tyajamaha. We can give up. Tvatmayam. Your illusory potency. Dushjajam. Mohita. Bewildered. On our own. Translation. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, among all the species within your material creation, we serpents are by nature always enraged. Being thus deluded by your illusory energy, which is very difficult to give up, how can we possibly give it up on our own? So let's just read it together. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, among all the species within your material creation, we serpents are by nature always enraged. Being thus deluded by your illusory energy, which is very difficult to give up, how can we possibly give it up on our own? Purport. By the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Once the devotees wanted to put more articles in Back to Godhead because there was only one and the rest of the articles were written by devotees, and Prabhupada said, you're writing what you've learned from me, so your writing is my writing. So we can take it the same way? More or less. Purport. Kaliya is here indirectly begging for the Lord's mercy, realizing that on his own he can never become free from illusion and suffering. Only by surrendering to the Lord and obtaining his mercy can one be released from the painful conditions of material life. So looking at the purport, well, first let me offer my obeisances. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Mukam Karuhivachalam Pangulangayate Girim Yakrapatamaham Bande Siguru Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuveva Chaptatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. So if we look at the word meanings, there's a few words that are very common in Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They come up a lot. Tyajam, giving up. Mohitam, bewildered. Dushtaram, or here dushyajam, impossible. Bewildered, giving up, impossible. What does it mean? Giving up what's impossible to give up. Mama Maya Duradyaya. Krishna says, impossible, my illusory energy. And here, the word mohita. Why is it impossible? Because we're mohita, we're bewildered. We're supposed to be bewildered by Krishna's beauty, but instead sometimes we become bewildered by Maya's beauty. And so this theme of this verse has come up before, and the reason it's come up before is that Kaliya, he's getting this mercy and it just doesn't make sense to him. Like, why am I getting it? It's like I'm a snake. I'm not even a human being who's snake-like. I'm a snake. And a snake is always angry and always biting for no reason. That means anger is completely tamasic. So snake is totally tamasic. So here I am, a snake. I'm totally tamasic. I'm just causing anxiety to people. And you've given me your mercy. And by this mercy, I've been able to transcend my snake-like nature. Hare Krishna. Mama maya durati ye mam ye eva mam ye mam eva ye mam prapadyante maya me tantrantite. So this verse is about the power of mercy. So Srila Prabhupada said something very interesting. He said that the Maha Mantra, which is available in all the other yugas, in Kali Yuga, the people are too fallen, it won't work. So Mahaprabhu had to create a new and improved version of the Maha Mantra because we're so fallen. You know, like products, new and improved? You know, dishwashing liquid, new and improved. So the old version of the Maha Mantra would not work on us because in Kali Yuga we're too fallen. How does that make you feel? So Mahaprabhu comes, he evaluates the situation and says, we have to improve this Maha Mantra so that this Maha Mantra will be effective on the residents of Kali Yuga. Now some devotees think, I am so fallen that even this Maha Mantra won't work on me. Raise your hand if you feel like that. Some of you. Raise your hand if you've ever felt like that. Okay, more hands are going up. Yeah, like, I am so fallen, even this Maha Mantra won't work on me. That is an offense to the holy name, by which we don't have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name. So, what this part of the Bhagavatam is supposed to do for us is give us faith in the power of bhakti, that even a snake who's lower than a human, who is always envious, who's always in tamagun, can be delivered if that is the desire of Krishna. Or the desire of his devotee. We remember the story of Nalakuvera and Manigriva. Nalakuvera and Manigriva had no qualification whatsoever to have Krishna's darshan. Except for some reason, Narada Muni showed mercy to them. That's the only reason. And because he showed mercy, Krishna had to show them mercy. But otherwise, there's no qualification. So, our position is a little bit like that. Because Srila Prabhupada came and said, and many people had told Prabhupada, you know, your disciples, they're malechas and they have no good habits and they don't know etiquette and they don't even know how to pronounce the Maha Mantra properly, what to speak of Sanskrit, and they're not clean and they're not Brahmins. And Prabhupada said, yes, I know. Certainly Prabhupada knew. But Prabhupada said, but they have one good quality, and that is, whatever I say, they will do it. And because of that, Prabhupada saw that we had faith in him, and that we would do what he said, even if we didn't understand the instruction, how it would work out, even if we didn't believe it was the right thing. Still we had faith, we would do it. Therefore, because of that, we got his mercy. And because of that mercy, we were elevated. So if you get the mercy of a pure devotee, then nothing is impossible. And if you offend a pure devotee, then it's impossible to be Krishna conscious. One goes up, one goes down. Now we have this beautiful story of Srila Prabhupada at the home of Nandan Acharya, crying. Did I tell this story last time? No? Anyway. I can't remember 10 days ago. Yeah. So it's such a beautiful story. So there must have been around August, July, August, probably early August, 1965. Prabhupada is setting out to go to America on an impossible mission. Nobody would bet that he would be successful. If you had 1 rupee, you wouldn't bet on it. He's going to America to make Vaishnavas. How much do you want to bet on it? Nothing. Who would bet on it? Not even Prabhupada's godbrothers would bet on it. They didn't even try. Why waste your time? It's not going to happen. We already tried. It failed in England. So, just stay in India and preach. So Prabhupada, he's setting out and he wants to get the mercy of his Guru Maharaj, so he goes to Mayapur, to his Guru Maharaj's Samadhi, to beg for mercy. And he was accustomed in going to Mayapur to go to the home of Nandanacharya. That's where Mahaprabhu and Nityananda first met. It's a very special place, very close to our temple. And there he was chanting japa and crying. And he used to come there as a grihastha, now he's dressed as a sannyasi. And the pujari was looking at him, and who is this person crying? And then gradually he recognized it was that same Abhay Babu that used to come. And he said, I see you're chanting and you're crying. Why are you crying? And he said, because my spiritual master has given me an impossible mission for which I am completely unqualified. So I'm just crying and begging for his mercy. So, oh Lord, I'm just a puppet in your hand. If you brought me here to dance, make me dance, make me dance. Dance as you like. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul. Somehow you brought me here to preach about you. They can't, how will they understand Bhagavatam? I have no idea how they'll understand. But if you give me the right words and from within their heart you help them, then surely they'll get this message and become purified. So, in a sense, we have 2 impossible missions in our life. To make ourselves Krishna conscious, like to achieve prema. Well, that's not easy, right? Some of us have been around 50 years. And still, we have a ways to go. And we're having trouble ourselves, and we're pretty serious about it, and then we have to make the other people Krishna conscious who don't even want it. So we have 2 impossible missions. And how will those impossible missions be successful? Whenever Srila Prabhupada was asked, how is it that you're successful? He would always say, by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. Rupa Goswami said, go. Prabhupada heard Rupa Goswami, go preach. We will take care of everything. We're behind you. So, this is the humility of a devotee, that they think, on my own, it is impossible to be Krishna conscious. Utterly impossible. Dustaram, Dushyajam, Mohita. I'm simply bewildered by the modes of nature. But if I get mercy, then it's possible. Now I want to read something. It's quite interesting. Just have to find it. Oh yes. Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, if we are unqualified to be Krishna conscious, and not if, we are. It's our qualification is that we're not qualified. That's a fact. So Mahaprabhu has given the process, and the new improved Mahamantra And Prabhupada is given the 4 other processes: sadhu sangha, living in the Dham, hearing, and deity worship. And these 5 are powerful enough even that we can become Krishna conscious. So, how do we get the mercy? Because when you talk about mercy, it almost sounds like, Prabhu, Guru Maharaj, please bless me. If I get the blessings of the superiors, then everything will happen, right? So, I'll read this quote in a bit. There's a story. One devotee asked Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, please give me your blessings so I can follow your instructions. And Prabhupada said, my instructions are my blessings. So sometimes we may ask for blessings, and we should, and we need them, but simultaneously there must be some effort and there must be some following of the Guru to get the blessings. Just like Shruti Kirti Prabhu here, which you can correct me if I tell the story wrong, when he saw the Sankirtan devotees in Los Angeles, coming back from Sankirtan, and you asked Prabhupada, can I go on Sankirtan? And Prabhupada said, yes, without my blessings. Is that correct? You forgot. No, it was from you. Anyway. So, well, he told you not to go to Mangalarti, right? Yeah, no? Yeah. So he was at Mangalarti, and Prabhupada sent Harikesh to get him and pull him back, and Prabhupada told him, never go to Mangalarti. Right? This is one of his favorite instructions from Prabhupada. Yeah. You always should stay with me 24/7. So we want to please our gurus, our Vaishnavas, and at the same time, it takes effort. We have to do something to please them. Give me your blessings, just then you do nothing, you go to sleep. It doesn't work that way. We have to follow their instructions. So there was a devotee, he wanted to do parikrama. And he was a sannyasi in Gaudiya Math, and he asked Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, don't do it. He did it anyway. He really wanted to do it. And when he finished, he came back and told Srila Bhaktisiddhanta that I had finished Ganga Parikrama, and as the story goes, his sannyas was taken away for disobeying the order of the Guru. So it's not that you get mercy just because you do some austerity. You get mercy because you please the Guru. And just like we heard Prabhupada say that sometimes there would be devotees in the Gaudiya Math and they just want to chant all day and not go out. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would say, get them out to preach. That's what he wanted at that time in that situation. There would be different situations, different times and places. But that's what he wanted. And so more mercy would come that way than through chanting of 64 rounds. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given us insight into what it means to be Trinadapi Sunichena. Because many devotees think, well, I'm supposed to chant the holy name more humble than grass. More tolerant than a tree. I don't really feel like grass. All right, everybody, just meditate that you are grass. See if that's easy. Raise your hand if you're having trouble becoming like grass. Yeah. It's not so easy. Our ego is generally bigger than this, isn't it? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, our ego is generally proportionate to the size of our physical body. But Mahaprabhu is saying your ego should be the size of grass, like way down on the bottom. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Trinadapi Sunichena means that I feel totally unqualified to become Krishna conscious. And the only way I can become Krishna conscious is to get the help of the holy name. I am helpless, totally. I have no qualification. I cannot do it on my own. It doesn't matter who I am, what I've done in the past. I cannot do it. And I am totally dependent on the holy name alone. That's chanting in humility. So when we feel dependent on mercy, that's humility. And when we think, I can do it myself, that's big false ego, right? Hare Krishna. So, yes. So, this quote by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So, many, many years ago, I was contemplating like how you get mercy. And you know, there's a paradox, because to say that mercy is deserved or mercy is, you qualify for it, that's a paradox. Because mercy means you get something you are not qualified for, right? If you're qualified, it's justice. If you're not qualified, it's mercy. So, but that didn't sit right in my head, because everyone doesn't get mercy equally. Yeyatamam prapadyate. Right? When Prabhupada was handing out cookies, who got the cookies? People who put their hand out, not the ones that stood in the back and watched. Right? Yeah. So mercy's being given out, but some people get it and some don't. Right? So I'm thinking, so is there a correlation between effort and mercy? Of course, we know from the Damodar Leela there is, because Yasoda made effort and Krishna didn't give mercy until he saw Yasoda. Oh, it's been all day. She's trying to tie me up. It's getting late, and she's like frustrated and tired and sweaty. Okay, I'll let her tie me up. Finally, because of her efforts, he agreed. So this is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says. Are you ready to listen? Are you ready? This is interesting. You have to check in with devotees to see if they're still breathing, because, you know, we tend to sleep little and eat a lot, which is bad for staying awake in class. One time Prabhupada was asked, who is a Brahmin? And Prabhupada said, whoever keeps their eyes open during class is a Brahmin. So now you're all awake, okay. Unless we extend our best efforts earnestly and qualify ourselves for the Lord's mercy. Okay, did you just hear that paradox? Effort and qualification for the Lord's mercy. You have to qualify. Prabhu, please bless me. You become qualified, I'll bless you. Actually, there's so many, everybody's asking for blessings. Of course, we want blessings, we need blessings. That's the etiquette, that's humility, that you could bless me. So we ask out of humility, please bless me, I'm so fallen, I need your help. That's the etiquette. At the same time, blessings are everywhere. One time Radhanath Swami gave class. Devotee came up after class like 2 hours, 3 hours. Maharaj, please bless me. He said, that's what I just did for the last 3 hours. So we don't want to miss the blessing. Unless we extend our best efforts earnestly and qualify ourselves for the Lord's mercy, it is next to impossible that we can be rescued from our fallen condition. It is next to impossible that we can be rescued from our fallen condition. So we have to make our best efforts to attract Krishna's attention, so that when we pray for mercy, there's action. Right? Pray as if everything depends on God. act like everything depends on you. You have to do both. That's what Krishna wants to say. I'll read it again. Unless we extend our best efforts earnestly and qualify ourselves for the Lord's mercy, it is next to impossible that we can be rescued from our fallen condition. Now, the other day, in the verse, there was talk about the conditioning of Kaliya. So we all understand conditioning, samskar, habit, tendencies, and we have some good samskars and some bad ones. And so, when a devotee confronts their conditioning, sometimes it's a bit discouraging because of materialistic proclivities. And certainly Prabhupada understood conditioning. And certainly Prabhupada understood how conditioned we were and how fallen we were. And he understood it year after year after year. It was very clear. And Prabhupada had so much faith in the holy name that despite our fallen condition, he never, ever, ever gave up on any devotee who was trying to follow. True? The Guru will never reject if the devotee doesn't reject the Guru. Now, Prabhupada only rejected a few, I think 2 or 3. So Prabhupada had faith in the holy name, but he also had extreme faith in the order of his Guru and the order of the disciplic succession. So he's given us the holy name practically in any condition. You know, he initiated people a few weeks after they came to ISKCON. Some people sometimes even the next day or a few days later. That's because Prabhupada had faith in the holy name. So, if he had that deep faith in the holy name, shouldn't we? Oh, Prabhu, I'm so fallen, I'll never be Krishna conscious, I'll be back here for lifetimes, I'll probably be a snake in my next life. Like that does not sync with our philosophy. Our philosophy doesn't say that. Our philosophy says, if you take the holy name without offense, then you will become Krishna conscious. I think it was Mother Narayani was saying in class, Prabhupada was saying the purpose of the creation, Prabhupada was saying the purpose of the creation is to see Krishna, ultimately to dance with Krishna. And Prabhupada would say that over and over and over. That you can see Krishna in this life. If you take the holy name without offense, you can see Krishna in this life. So many times Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles, you can go back to Godhead in this life. So many devotees thought, no. How is that? So I believe it was Rabindra Swarup, he said, Prabhupada, you said 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles. What else? Because, that's too simple. Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regular principles, I will take you back to Godhead. You will go back to Godhead. But Prabhupada, isn't there something more? If you chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 principles, you'll go back to Godhead. But Prabhupada, how is that possible? Isn't there something more? And Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds and follow the regular principles, I will personally take you back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So, now, it gets better. Don't go away yet. So, You know, there's many Gaudiya movements now, not just the Hare Krishna movement. There's many great devotees who knew Srila Prabhupada. And one of them was Srila Narayana Maharaj, and they told him that Prabhupada said, you could go back to Godhead in one lifetime. He said, Prabhupada said that because generally we don't say one life, right? Right? We say, you don't hear that outside of ISKCON. Is it true?
13th chapter.
3 lives?
Says you can go back in one lifetime if you're serious.
One lifetime if you're serious. But generally, as I've heard, they say like 3. Yeah, okay. So anyway, apparently that was not the conception. So they told him, and he said, how is that? Prabhupada really said that. He was having a hard time believing it. And they said, no, Prabhupada said one lifetime you could go back to God. And he was thinking. And he said, yes, Prabhupada could do that. Prabhupada could give that mercy. Now, are you happy? You've got that mercy, Mike? All right. Prabhupada gives that mercy through the process and 4 principles and chanting the holy name without offense. Just a minor detail. You could note that down. You know, somewhere on your notepad, you know, on the bottom, you know, little asterisk, without offense. Yeah, just, you know. If you take the holy name without offense, Prabhupada can bring you back to Godhead. So if you ever say, I am too fallen, nobody is too fallen. Or we could say, everybody is too fallen, but Prabhupada's mercy is greater than the fallenness of us. So nobody, therefore, then is too fallen, because Prabhupada has made a deal with Krishna, empowered 16 rounds, if we chant without offense, and we follow the principles, give our life for service. Listen to this story. Srila Prabhupada went to Japan. No. Yeah, he was in Japan. I don't know when it was. I had already joined, like 1969, and Prabhupada, the whole mood when I joined was open 108 temples. Prabhupada wants 108 temples. As soon as, like you have a temple with 4 devotees, you get 4 more, and those 4 go out and start a new temple, and then they get 4 more, and then they go out, and just like that. Prabhupada wanted 108. And then he went to Japan, and he wanted a temple in Japan. And Prabhupada was asking, who will stay here and open a temple in Japan? And everybody was like, I don't want to do that. That's hard. Be alone, you know, a few devotees in Japan. I don't even speak the language, and we're, you know, thousands of miles from devotees. I won't see Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada gave a blessing. He said, whoever will take this service and open a temple in Japan, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come down and personally take you back to Godhead. Wow. So, that's mercy in action. But that's effort. You're doing something and you're getting the mercy. I just wanted to read a few interesting things, and then we can have some discussion. This is a quote from 11th Canto, chapter 14, so you must have read it a few months ago, about how we attract Krishna's mercy. So it's our effort, but there's also a mood which attracts Krishna's mercy. Srila Madhvacharya cites from Vedic literature the example that a gentleman sometimes neglects his own interest and that of his children to give charity to a poor beggar. One time I was doing a japa workshop with Purnachandra Maharaj, and we were talking about begging the holy name, you know, for mercy. And then he did an beggar, and he said, we should chant like this, and it was like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Said that's how we should beg, just like those beggars. So sometimes you will neglect your own family and yourself because there's somebody so much in need that you give them charity. Similarly, the Lord gives preference to a helpless devotee. His mercy, the Lord gives preference to a helpless devotee. The only way to obtain the Lord's mercy is through His causeless love. And the Lord is most lovingly inclined towards those devotees who are most dependent on Him, just as ordinary mothers and fathers worry more about their helpless children than about those who are self-sufficient. I have personal experience. My father left me nothing in the will. Because I said, why? He said, I don't know, but somehow or other Krishna seems to be taking care of you. You don't work, but you don't. And so he gave it all to my sister. She was more dependent. Thus, even if one lacks any material qualification, one should simply depend upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead without any other interest, and surely one will achieve the highest perfection of life. So really, the point being made here is that one has to want mercy. And then Krishna sees that, and the more you want it, the more Krishna sees it, the more He arranges to give it to you. So we establish the point we all need mercy. How much mercy do you need? A little? A lot? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you need? 11, right? So, and how will you get it? You will make your best efforts earnestly, that means sincerely, for the pleasure of Krishna. And you will show Krishna, I feel helpless. I cannot, this project of developing love of God, this project of making the world Krishna conscious, I don't know how to do it. I'm not qualified. And the only way that I can do it is if you give me your mercy. So every morning you have 2 hours to beg like the beggar, please give me mercy so that I can have a little drop of devotion. Please give me mercy so I can have a little taste of bhakti. Please give me a little mercy so I can please my spiritual master. Please give me a little mercy so I can do something to spread Krishna consciousness. That's humility. And without humility, you don't get mercy. Isn't it? Hare Krishna. So I'll stop a little early because we can have a nice discussion. If there are any questions or comments? Yes?
Helpless and hopeless.
What is the difference between helpless and hopeless? Oh, beautiful question. They kind of go together, Ashabanta. I'm helplessly, I'm hopelessly helpless. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, hopelessly. There's no hopelessness in Krishna consciousness. The hopelessness in Krishna consciousness is an analysis that, like Rupa Goswami says in the prayer that we refer to as Ashabandha, he goes down his list of qualifications for bhakti, and at the end of the list, he comes up with the number of how many qualifications, which are 0. He goes, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have good birth, I don't have bhakti. No, bhaktir, I don't like chanting, shavanadi or bhaktir. Jati, bad birth, I'm not attracted to the process, down the whole list. So he's hopeless. By qualification, forget it, hopeless. And then he ends his prayer by saying, but, my dear Lord, I know you are very merciful. And because you are merciful, then I have hope. So therefore, we can be hopeless about our own qualification, but we can't be hopeless about Krishna's mercy. That's the point. And when we're hopeless about Krishna's mercy, then we're finished. Then that's offensive. Like, Krishna, you know, I'm so fallen, even Krishna can't purify me. No, of course he can. And if you feel hopeless and you approach the deity or the Lord in your heart and say, I'm hopeless, please help me, then he notices you. The more you feel hopeless. You know, Prabhupada once wrote me a letter and he said, I was a very young temple president, and he said, you should feel totally unqualified to run the temple. He said, that's how you should feel. And if you feel that way, you will always pray to Krishna to give you qualifications. It's like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like 20 years old. Here's your temple, run it. Like, you know, what do I know how to, what did I know how to run, you know, as a 20-year-old? So, okay, this is pretty hopeless. And then what happened? One day we went to a home of like 12 people and did a program. And when we went back to the temple 3 days later, they all became devotees and started their own temple. You know, and you say, oh, Mahatma Prabhu, you're such a great preacher. You're like, great preacher, you know, what did I do? I just did a kirtan and gave a Bhagavad-Gita class. You know, that's all I know. So it can work like that, because Prabhupada said, if you stay in the movement, you'll get credit for spreading it. If you leave, you won't get the credit. So Prabhupada said, somebody has to do it. So, you know, if you're willing to do it, then Krishna will say, okay, well, we'll use you. And if you're not, well, we'll use him. And if he's not, we'll use you. Somebody. So if you're willing, and you say, okay, Krishna, I'm willing, give me the mercy, I'll try. I'm a hopeless case, but, you know, I think as disciples of Prabhupada, I think I can speak for all of us. Inside, there's a lot of guilt because Prabhupada wanted much greater things to happen than we're capable of doing. Agreed? Agreed? Like, you know, there's a lot of shame and guilt. Like, you know, he wanted to take over the world in 18 days, but he said, but where are the 18 men? Right? He said, I could do it if I had 18 men. So it's like, you know. So we are hopeless, but Prabhupada said everybody's useful for something. So we can do something, you know. So, you know, we try whatever we can do. Krishna help me. Yes?
Thank you for a nice, thoughtful class. One thing occurs to me, maybe it would speak on it.
Okay.
Because in the Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami, he gives 6 qualifications.
Yeah. Utsahan.
One of them is confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be confident. Robert explains in the purport, you should be confident that you'll be successful.
Yes. Yeah.
So which should you feel? I should feel confident or I should feel hopeless? It doesn't seem to go together.
Oh, they go well perfectly. I am totally hopeless. And I'm totally confident in Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada's mercy can save me. And why wouldn't we be confident? Just look, where were you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Now look, you're sitting in Vrindavan. Radhe, 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 Sham, Sham, Sham. Ah. Like, where did that come from? You know, all the devotees here are like intoxicated with Radha Bhav, you know. So it's working, right? But if you give up the process, then punar mushika bhava, then again back to material life and working like an ass to get some sense gratification. So we should have confidence in the process, but if we stop the process, then we're hopeless. So my joke is, well, if you don't believe it, just stop chanting Hare Krishna for a week and see what that does for you. If you want some proof in the mercy, you know, because you'll end up a total mess. And then you'll realize, wow, this really works. And if you really want to prove it, do your best to chant the holy name perfectly every day without offense, and you will be bombarded by mercy every day, overwhelmed. You'll have so much nectar flowing in your mouth, in your ears, in your heart, and so many realizations and so much inspiration. Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said something really powerful. He said, If you do not chant properly, you will lose your faith because you won't have that experience. And then if you don't have that experience, then you think, this doesn't work, the process doesn't work. I've been chanting. No, you have not been chanting. You've been chanting a blank mantra. That's why it doesn't work. But you think, because it sounds like the Maha Mantra, you say, no, I'm chanting the Maha Mantra. That's not, if it's not working, it's not the Maha Mantra. It's just a sound. It's a shadow. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, you have to chant without offense to find out what is lurking of the sound. Ah, nectar. Those are the words he used. What is lurking behind the syllables of the mantra? It's interesting, right? So, if you chant offensively or on a very low stage of namabhas, not much happens. And you know, you could chant for 300 lifetimes that way and not much is going to happen. So how will you have faith in the holy name? You won't have faith because it's not working, because you're not taking the actual holy name. But if you take the actual holy name, you get faith because it's working. Because faith builds from experience. So this is a really important point. He said that it's actually dangerous not to chant well because you can lose faith. That's why so many devotees say, I don't think I'm going back to Godhead in this lifetime. To me, that's a sign of intense humility or a lot of namaparad, one or the other. And you have to decide for yourself which one it is. Prabhupada said the same thing. He said, after I die, I'm going to hell because I'm so fallen. But that's the Mahabhagavat humility. I don't know if we can imitate that. Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj is going to spill nectar on our ears right now.
You're mentioning many times Prabhupada will take us back home, back to Godhead. By following his instructions, especially offenseless chanting and following the four related principles, no aparad, especially Vaishnava aparad.
Yes.
One may ask, so what is the role of the Guru then? Is he instrumental also for the disciple to go back home, or just connecting to only to Srila Prabhupada? Or what is the main role of the Guru?
When you get Diksha, you get the mantra. But you need Guru to teach you how to chant the mantra. So you need Siksha. So if you don't get the Siksha, then you commit Namaparad, because you just got the mantra. So traditional times, sometimes you would just get Diksha from one Guru and Siksha from others. Janava Mata just gave Diksha. She didn't give Siksha because, right, they're all men. So sometimes you get Diksha, and then your Guru will say, go to these Siksha Gurus. So the idea is the Nam Guru should be the Siksha Guru for the Nam, to show you how to chant without offense. So you need that Siksha to guide you back to Godhead. So when Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds, at every initiation he told us what the offenses are. So he's giving the Siksha how to chant properly. Because if you just get the Diksha, that's like nothing. You have to, it's like I just read this quote today. Radhanath Swami, beautiful quote. He said, something like, making vows is not what helps you. Following vows is what helps you. So, taking Diksha and making vows, that's one thing, but actually following them, that's what actually helps. So you need Siksha Gurus to show you how to chant properly. So that's how you get Nam, and then we recite the 10 offenses. Yeah. So, yeah.
We want to become offensive, right? That you've been emphasizing.
Yeah.
So is there one concise way
Yes.
we can remember by which we can overcome offenses?
Yeah, it's easy. Just become like a blade of grass. So find a blade of grass, put it in your mouth, and just chew it all day, and you'll remember. Why do we offend Vaishnavas? Because we don't respect them. Isn't it? So what is that verse? When you're low, naturally you respect. And I disrespect you because I put myself above you. And advancement means lower, 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 lower. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta, when his disciples would pay obeisances, he would say, Dasosmi, I'm your servant. That's the bhav of a pure devotee. I'm a servant of everyone. So, can we learn how to respect everybody? All the people on the street, not just in the temple? And all the ants that are crawling around everywhere? And the dogs and like...
And that's what, in the Bhagavad-Gita, that's what Krishna tells Arjuna, that you should pay obeisances to all, to pay...
Yeah. I mean, why not? Maybe we should institute a new program. Okay.
If I may say.
Okay. Maybe we should start paying obeisances to the dogs and the monkeys and the ants. The new... This verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, it's interesting because we all want a taste for the holy name. So how does the verse end? Kirtaniya Sadahari. How are you going to get to what Takaharidas did, 192 rounds? You're not going to get there unless you practice humility. Because the consequence of humility is that I can chant a pure holy name. And humility means to respect. Now, this is kind of heavy, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's true. True humility means you think that everyone is better than you. Everybody. Everybody includes everybody, right? That means there's nobody it doesn't include. Everybody that you ever see in your life, you feel is better. And obviously you can't artificially do that. But when a devotee achieves that position, how would it be possible to offend anybody if you think everybody's better? It's impossible. Right? So that's an interesting meditation. To offer respects to others, not wanting respect for myself. Raise your hand if you don't want any respect for yourself. We'll bring you to the front and let everybody criticize you. Make your line over here. And when we get to that consciousness, then we'll have a taste for the holy name. Then we can always chant. And if we're proud, if we're not respectful, then how do you practice respect? At least one way you practice respect is appreciate, glorify, honor, and don't criticize. But the point is, if you have that consciousness, you automatically do that, right? And if you don't have that consciousness, you'll tend to criticize. So when you criticize somebody, stop and think, wait a minute, I got the problem because I'm criticizing him. It's not about him, it's about me, right? Because if I were more humble, I wouldn't do that. Yes?
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, our Siddha Pranali is Trinadapi Suniche
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, we should tie that as a necklace.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Wow. So we're going to make necklaces today? With that mantra, and we're going to pass them out at Mangalarti tomorrow. And we're going to give you all 1,000 of those necklaces. And everywhere you go and travel, you're going to give it to every devotee. And that will revolutionize the Hare Krishna movement. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hare Hare Go. Gauranga.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you, thank you.
Sorry, I wanted to ask a question actually. I didn't get a chance. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he always used to stress the acquisition of Sukriti. So
When you're a Mahatma, you're a Mahatma. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,